Hi, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to Project Die Hard Monday Mission podcast. My name is Sister Zita, your host. I have been away for a few weeks now in my original country, Nigeria, on a mission trip, and also to bury my mother. I am glad that I'm back and here tonight to have our Monday Mission podcast. And as always, you're all welcome to join us. You know why we're here. Our brother, Brian, has put this together. He has called us, challenged us, invited us to join him on this wonderful cause of giving hope to our veterans. Everybody is encouraged to do their own bit to support our veterans all over the United States. We know the significant work that veterans have been doing all around the world, particularly in this country. The security, the freedom we have all enjoyed and still enjoying that you don't really find in other parts of the world. We give thanks to our veterans. We know that some of these veterans at this point need our help. They're all looking up to us to help them in their own time of need. Zita's Healthy Beginning is the nonprofit that I have founded. And what we do is we support women and children and families. And our veteran families are very critical for us. We try to provide all the services to ensure that women and children are protected. We reduce the maternal and infant mortality rate, which is really skyrocketing here in the United States and elsewhere in the world. We do that through education, advocacy, through training of doulas, and also trying to build maternity hospitals here in the United States and also in Nigeria right now, which will be our project that will help us to help other women and men and babies to provide them with the access of healthcare that is dearly needed. And this way, I'm also serving our veterans here in the United States by hosting this program and podcast. And I'm encouraging each one of us to please stand up, step up, support us, support this cause. And I ask, right now, we have a guest tonight, but before we have our guest, I'm asking our brother Brian to come along and give us that important report that you prepare every week. Thank you, and come on, Brian.
Well, hello, sister. Welcome home. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you so much.
You have been in our prayers with the passing of your mother.
Thank you.
We are so glad that you made it home safely.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I've been in meetings all day, so I didn't get my PowerPoint all set up, but our blessing this week was outstanding. We got to go to Chicago over the weekend, and we were the headline speaker at a big veterans organization. Had about 80 people there. We got to share the mission. My desk right now is covered with a bunch of business cards and emails that I gotta get at tomorrow morning to do that nice little follow-up. But we made it there safely. Got to spend some fellowship time with our ambassador, Victor. Got to speak. We got to bring on 2 new restaurants to our Club 22. Our prayer request is still out there, prayer request, pray, so we can get the resources to get forward operating base brush up and running. Share our mission, tell people about us. Remember, you tell them that when they give $22, veteran gets hope. It goes to the mission, not anybody's wallet in this organization. I cannot stress that enough. You know, it's just that, you know. So in a nutshell, our week was pretty good. We have our big event coming up May 6th. The Veterans of Foreign Wars of Illinois, District 15. May 6th is the Veterans of Foreign Wars National Volunteer Day. District 15 is coming to forward operating base drive to help do a little bit of work so we can get those programs started. But once again, we can't do it without people's help. Becoming that patron, sharing our mission. We're revamping our commercials, so we're not going to take a commercial break. I had a little bit of time to talk to Michael, but we're going to bring him on, and I'll let you two talk, and I'll just sit here back in the corner and watch, learn, and monitor the comments. So here is Michael.
Good evening. So nice to meet both of you. So I see them. And first I'll start out, sorry to hear about your mother. So
Thank you.
Awkward silence.
yeah.
Go ahead, go.
No. So I'm glad to have you here, Michael. It is really wonderful to have people like you join us. I'm inviting you to please share with us your information, who you are, where you operate from, what your business is, and what is actually motivating you to come to a podcast, and how do you plan to support, discuss Project Die Hard. Please feel free to share with us, take all the time you need.
Okay. Well, I'm Michael Simon, tuning in from Stillwater, Minnesota, which is basically, it's the outskirts of the Twin Cities. Live with my wife, daughter, my service dog, Dory, which ties into a lot of what we're talking about. Some other family animals and so forth. That's what I do. I'm a Operation Iraqi Freedom veteran. I grew up in Missouri. I didn't take the typical military route. I grew up in Missouri. That was back in the age my parents says you got to go to college. So, I followed suit and I went, and I was never focused, but I got through. I had a career in corporate sales when I graduated. I went to work on my master's. And about the time I was done with that, we had 9/11. And at that time, I realized, took a step back and I go, what have I really done for my community around the country? And it was basically little to nothing. And so I joined the Minnesota National Guard. Within 2 years, I was deployed to Iraq. We had an extended tour. And everything, I came back. I was glad to be home like most of us, and everything seemed fine, I guess. I was freshly married, but it wasn't that long after I got home and went back to my, normal civilian job and life. And I was still in the Guard. I was, doing the, drilling a couple of months after we got back. My wife noticed some kind of personality changes, and I had some normal, I guess, wear and tear from the military. And turned out I had an organic issue. It wasn't necessarily a depression, but they I was, by the grace of God, they found I had a large frontal lobe tumor, and by the grace of God, they found it just in time. And they got it out just in time. And that was one of those things we talk about, spiritual, the way everything came together right when it did, that wasn't just coincidence. So, after that, I was blessed to get service connectivity, and I went through a long inpatient at the Minneapolis VA as far as learning how to, work on my memory and so forth, because, it was a tumor, it was a brain injury. And plus I had, a few bumps and bruises when I was deployed. I decided, one, I didn't want to do the corporate thing anymore. I want to do something more entrepreneurial. But two, I kind of went through a period of depression or feeling displaced, like I think a lot of veterans do. I mean, I had a pretty good career prior to that in the military. I probably would have finished my 20 years. My wife may have not been too nuts about it, but that's what I would have done. But once I had that tumor and so forth, the Army didn't necessarily, not going to say the Army didn't have use for me anymore, but we kind of came to the fork in the road where I can go serve and be a leader somewhere else. The military just wasn't the place. But I felt like a displaced for was probably 18 months after that. What kind of saved me and pulled me out of my funk is I went to a veterans, disabled American Veterans Wear Sports Clinic that got back on skis. It's like my eyes opened up again. I felt, gee, there is life after injury, because I saw many veterans that were a lot worse shape than I was or appeared to be. And then I jumped into other things. In the previously, like I said, I wanted the corporate. I had an entrepreneurial bug, so I started a business with my wife's, some relatives. We did well at that, a barbecue sauce business. Learned a lot. Then I went and marketed pet insurance for a couple of years where it was like my own. And because of my health issues from the military, I had to step down because I had a breakthrough seizure. Again, I felt kind of displaced, but I saw the family and I was doing different things to keep me going. And now I'm in the health and wellness business. So I'm in a test-based nutrition business. How I got there, it's, how I got to do what I'm doing now. Essentially, I'm helping people. As far as getting what's really going on in their body. One and two, because it's this product or these products that work for me, and I've seen what it's done for other people I know, and I've seen many, many examples, and it's getting me something that I feel, useful, that I'm again out helping people. That's the main thing. Because I'm not in a position where I necessarily have to work or, not chasing the millions. Like, the older I get, the less I realize money as far as personal stuff doesn't mean that much. And after, I've seen my mortality, but I want to do something that I enjoy. And again, it's doing something positive for society, because besides this, I have been a veterans advocate. I'm, what you call a Move United ambassador, because I do para sports, I do triathlons and stuff. And when they have a para class or para group, I always, compete with that group versus the ordinary age group for triathlons or endurance sports. I don't know. It's, how do I see it? It's good to be out there to, feel like I'm doing something for somebody else, not, it's like talk about Operation Die Hard, what I've seen, the suicide, it's, losing one person's bad, losing 22 or more a day is absolutely unacceptable. It's in it. And to my understanding, it got even worse during COVID. And it's horrible. What was it? Brian talked about how he's lost more battle buddies to suicide than he did in a combat tour. I mean, it's just can't fathom of it. And so it's horrible. And I'm not saying I was ever right there on the verge of suicide, but I went through some real depressions just because I felt displaced. And it wasn't for my wife who understood, and she saw everything I went through, and some family members. And of course, we adopted our daughter. Well, it's been like 9 years. If it wasn't for them, I mean, sometimes you wonder, well, what's the purpose? So I don't know, it's giving the hope. So I mean, I feel very blessed to things I've gotten to do. I mean, becoming disabled because of my injury and so forth. I mean, I've realized the blessings. I'm doing things now that I would have, probably never started if this hadn't happened. So there's a reason for it, but need to be there where it keeps me on track to focus on what's good and what's bad. So, and I know the good Lord was there the whole time. I mean, I had my doubts, within a year after I came back. I'm like, we went over there, followed orders, did what we're supposed to do, and we come back, and it's not, when I came back from that tour in Iraq, I think I looked at things differently than a lot of, say some of my peers who hadn't gone, and I saw things maybe a little bit differently than they did. So.
Wow.
But yet,
wow, thank you.
But I just learned about Project I. It makes sense, it's just unacceptable. So.
Absolutely. And I mean, can you imagine what you went through? Can you imagine what you went through? And when we talk about giving hope, it starts with family. And I'm glad you pointed out, how your family supported you, your wife, your daughter, other family members. And that is exactly what Brian is trying to accomplish. Because when he has this dream, he understood he's been there, done that. He went through his own trauma period, but something that pulled him through was God. Just like he also, affirmed, we can't do anything in this world without God. And that is why Project Die Hard is also centered, biblically centered. It's faith-based. We all recognize our human frailty. None of us can do anything on our own. It got to be through the grace of God. And Project Die Hard has realized this, has recognized it, and trying to help people based on that. And what we're trying to do is to give them that hope that, yes, we are here. We understand the pain. We understand your suffering. We might not really be in the same shoes with you, but we understand what you're going through. We know that it is not easy for you. And we know that our little support will help you, give you that hope to not think the other way. Because when people don't have anyone reassuring them, whether it's in kind or even in prayer, that's when people give up hope. It's like, what is there anymore? Nobody cares about me after all these years. What is the point? I don't deserve to live. And that is not true, because usually it's the enemy telling you that. All of us deserve to live. Every single one of us has that, freedom, has that right to live. And not only just to live, but to live life to the fullest. And that is what Brian has thought about. He and his friend have come up with a project where we provide hope. We still have brothers and sisters who've gone through trauma, who have served us as veterans. And each one of us has something to give. Like you rightly pointed out, if you hadn't really been through what you went through, you wouldn't be thinking about life differently. And it's unfortunate that a lot of people today still cannot see the difference, cannot recognize the essence of our life. it is not all material. You may have all that material wealth and you're not happy. So you will testify that the way you live now, you're living more fulfilled life than, when you thought you had it all.
Mhm.
And what is more important is to give quality to our life, give value, especially when you're doing that for yourself and letting others see what you're doing and be willing and open to supporting other people, help them to see what you have seen, help them to know what you know already, and to help them to recognize that everything is centered in God. So I'm so thankful that God has pulled you through, giving you this whole chance to go through it with your family support. Now you are giving it back. Because that's what we are all doing. We are giving it back. Every one of us is doing that right now. So our brother comes here now to give us some more information on this wonderful
Well,
project.
no, I want to roll in here because you guys
Okay.
are discussing some stuff. Yes, family, right? Family. That's very, very important. Okay. And again, this is why we are bringing veterans with their families to our facility. Because the family organism, that team, right, needs to heal together. Mom or dad may deploy may be different. Like, look, you said your wife said something was different, right? Yeah, every deployment I went on, my kids had to learn about a new father. My wife had to learn about a new husband. Because everyone I went on, I came back different. That's one thing that people got to understand. Nations all throughout history have sent people to go fight their wars. They trained them to go do and see bad things. But no nation has ever learned how to untrain them. Okay. And the meeting I had earlier today, look, I'm not saying I have all the answers, but we're doing things a little different than all these other organizations because, well, that it's not working. The number's going up. So we got to do something different. And that's why we will not compromise God. We will not compromise overstuffing our facilities. We believe quality over quantity. That's why we're going to give them up to a year free of charge to get back on their feet. This is, you can't fix anything in 90 days. I'm sorry I had to chime in there.
No.
Makes you think, oh, Michael.
No, it makes you think. And like when you say it, can't fix something in 90 days.
Right.
Like I've been, different, organizations. And my wife went on a spiritual marriage retreat years ago with an organization. And then every year they have, they took us to a nice place, but every year they have a follow-up retreat in the options. So, which we're going to because, we came into some real issues from my, deployment and brain injury and so forth. And that helps save it. Another blessing from God, but you still have, we still need a tune-up once in a while.
Right.
Oh, yes, total agreement. This is why on our facilities, we are going to have those retreat spaces. So if a veteran just needs to come and get away for a weekend, or if another service organization needs to use our facility, right, wants to use that retreat center, then come on. The only thing we ask is you don't charge our residents for the programs you bring to our facility.
Mhm.
This is where teamwork rolls in.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
we've already partnered with the Veterans Ranch for equine therapy. Why? That's their bread and butter. That's what they know. That's what they do. So why reinvent the wheel?
Mhm.
We just got to build the barn. Right?
Mhm.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
that's what people got to understand about our facility. They are open to other organizations that want to bring their programs. So in a nutshell, they're saving the overhead costs, the cost of the building, the cost of the maintenance, the cost of all that. And all we ask in return is share our mission. Tell people to support us. You know, teamwork makes the dream work.
Yep.
And together, everyone accomplishes more.
In the way I look at it too, we talk about family. I have my family, but I consider my brothers and sisters my battles, and so my family away from my family. And it's like I've always had a good tie with that. It's like we start talking. It's like a lot of us have a dialect. It doesn't matter where you're from, your background. Doesn't matter what branch you You and I were in the Army, but I've friends of the Marines, and it's all just friendly. And it's I always have a connection, and it doesn't matter generational. So and then my business, I focus, my main glitch, I focus on connecting with other folks and help them on us, also health, back to the veterans and suicides, the VA. Oh, you've got this problem, take this. That doesn't solve. Solves little to nothing. It might create another problem. And then, folks in alternative health, but the other one is veterans, because a lot of us have been through very similar situations. No situation is exactly the same. We've been through our challenges. And that's why I like to connect with veterans. So.
Well, and again, this is why we will not take government money. Because they come in and they say you can do this and you can't do that. Well, there's no one cookie cutter treatment for PTSD. There's not one cookie cutter treatment for depression or night sweats or there's no cookie cutter treatment. So you can't say this works and this doesn't. I have 10 pounds of titanium holding my spine together. I'm a recovering alcoholic. Every time I go to the VA, they try to give me opioids for the pain. What part of recovering alcoholic with addiction issues don't you understand? I don't want them. I know where that leads.
Yep. Yeah, and I always tell folks, unless you absolutely have to take a prescribed medication or a high-powered over-the-counter solution, which I did, where I got involved with my test-based nutrition, this omega-3 product, I took high-powered ibuprofen like it was candy. And I was also addicted to the sleep medication of VA. Since I've been on this, I rarely ever take one. And I always say, unless you absolutely have to take it, don't do it, because it will create most likely more problems. If it solves anything at all. So.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Michael. I was actually gonna ask you, can you talk a little bit more about the nutrition you mentioned? So our audience would learn, about what you do.
Yeah, sure. Well, again, Test Nation Christian. I'm a representative company called Zeno. It's, independent. Our primary product is a balanced oil, which is a omega-3, but it's omega-3 in a polyphenol. And there's a lot to choose from out there for omega-3 products. I mean, there's many options. You know, one, talking about financials, one, I believe we get what we pay for more often than not. It's not, you know, we do. And secondly, ours is a test base versus a guess base. We have this balance test, which I took the first time. The term somebody's omega-3 to omega-6 ratio, 97% of the folks that take this test in the world will be what you call out of balance. Even if they're doing all the right things, they're exercising, they're eating all the right things, which still working on that with my life. I like my pizza. I like my, you know, but, you know, got to eat more vegetables. But 97% of the folks that take this will be out of balance. And then once they test results and it's like, well, go on this balance oil for 120 days, retest, your ratio should improve significantly, or it should, as long as you do the dosage. And then secondly, you might notice some very positive side effects. Mine was the pain, the inflammation. I took those after I had my, you know, that neurosurgery. I had headaches like crazy. And like I said, that's where I got started in that ibuprofen. I was taking 3 of the 600 milligrams a day. So it's done, and it could possibly help with veterans with PTS or anybody with PTS. It could possibly. I can't say it will, because one, everybody's different. It can help, you know, help folks with skin issues. It can help folks with memory care, which is going to be a signature disease for the next 20 years, you know, and that's why you see these places popping up all over the place. It could help with that in the early stages. So that's essentially what it is. You know, the main products, balance oil, I'm on, of course, health protocol, a couple of other products, but it's done wonders for me and it's helping others, you know, and that's the main thing. I always said, like when I started Entrepreneurial Bug, when I did the barbecue sauce, when I did the pet insurance, because I'm a lover of animals, I will not market or promote any product nor service unless I believe in it. And the deal with this was, yeah, it's direct sales, but 90% customers. I told my friend, I said, I'll become a customer, and if this works for me, then I will consider becoming a partner. And that's basically what happened.
Well, I'm in that same boat.
Yeah.
Because I got people, oh, we can do this for veterans, we can do that. I've gone and done some weird things before I went, you know what? I don't think my brothers and sisters need this. You know, I will check out everything before it goes out to our network. Because part of my job and where I sit as the founder is protecting my brothers and sisters from the shammers, from the snake oil peddlers.
Oh, there's plenty of those out there. Like you know, I met Emily and Kurt, you know, through the Happy Neighborhood. I met JR from the Veterans Ranch. He's a great guy. Through Happy Neighbor and all this, I get approached by people all the time. Well, check this out, check that out. And a couple of things is one, I'm sure what you're doing most likely is very good, but I need to focus on what I'm doing, be the most effective, and I believe we're all you know, we're meant to do something or we're not. So, and it goes back to the monetary for my personal gain. Like once I had that issue a few years back where I saw mortality, and the older I get, we're only guaranteed, we're not guaranteed any more days. You know, we never know when it's going to be our time. But life is very short than what do they say? Life is like a grain of sand on a beach 1,000 miles long. That's what you know, so do everything you can while you're here.
Right.
And
I look at it this way. I got a friend goes by the station name called Rapture Ready. Hey, I'm Rapture Ready.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And, hey, you're put here on this earth to do God's work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some of us, it took us longer to get around to it. After seeing what I've seen and having to do what I have done, me and God got in a big argument. You know, when you have to zip up a body bag with an 18-year-old
Mm.
with a brand new baby back home,
Mm.
that kind of tested my faith.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, and I saw a few things over there. I was a signal support, but I got more, it seemed like in a combat mission, if a vehicle gets blown up, well, forget the vehicle, but they want the radio, because that's SINGARS. And so they sent us out there to clean it and install. And I saw enough of that stuff that, and I got in later in my early 30s. And so I wasn't typical, but when you see back to the 18, 19, 20-year-olds, like this person had so much of their life,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, we're working on a new T-shirt for us. We're finally working on our red T-shirt. Remember, everyone deployed, right?
absolutely.
We still got men and women out there fighting a good fight.
Mhm.
But on the back, it's going to say, help when they come home. And then projectdiehard.org.
Mm.
So, you know,
It's nice.
We finally got a graphic artist who can take my crazy ideas and make it happen.
Absolutely.
Mhm. And I think one of the things that Project Die Hard is doing is helping our veterans, especially those ones who are still, on the battlefield, to recognize that we understand that you're still human. When you come home, please be human. We know you've gone through a lot. Please be open. Please just be open. And we are here to hold you with our two arms. We're here to love you. We're here to provide you with hope. If people are not assured of that, don't expect them to open up, because the question is, who am I opening up to? Nobody cares about me. So what's the point?
Yeah. Some people are too proud to ask for help, so I mean, I knew there were some things with me, not like some others. And, it took me a while to really realize, hey, I have an issue here. Mine was an organic issue, but after that happened, I realized my identity was gone. I wasn't able to, prior to that, on the corporate side or the civilian, I was a workaholic and I liked it. I was proud of it. And then all of a sudden one day it's gone, along with my reserve military career. It's like, well, there's my identity,
Yeah.
Well,
And I think in addition to the pride is fear. Because if you're not sure that somebody's gonna really love you like you are, you're afraid to open up. And we see that as pride, but in essence, what that is fear. Because I don't know how you're gonna take me. I don't know whether you're gonna really accept me if I really open up and be vulnerable.
Yes, that is true. But in the same retrospect, when I do training and I talk to civilians, I give them fair warning. You see veterans walk around with a hat and the shirts and stuff. And when you go to a veteran and you ask, hey, how's your day going? You got to be ready to stand there for 2 hours. Because you just might be that voice they've been needing to hear, to go, my life's not okay. And then you need to know what to do with them.
Michael, can you hear?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great.
No, it's, yeah, you talk, yeah.
Okay.
I went through most of my counseling and talking about stuff after I had that tumor removed and then talking, you know. And it was an adjustment, and I still talk to somebody, you know, not as often, but you know, regularly, you know, because I have my issues and different things, and we talk about. I think brain injury. Not everybody understands brain injury. I can't be too hard on the world because I had no clue what a brain injury really meant until I had one myself. And two, the military. I mean, I have some friends, and I'm not against anybody. You know, I got in late in life, so there's a chance I would have never, you know, 9/11 may never serve, but some folks don't really get it, and I can say I didn't get it either. You know, a lot of folks, right? If you were in during the Gulf War while I was in college, I had no clue what folks went through. It took me, you know, and now I realize I appreciate it so much more. So,
Yeah, calling me old, it's not the way to get on.
no, I'm not either, but I was clueless on what people went through.
Yeah.
You know,
I broke my teeth in Desert Storm. That was my first.
you know,
As I like to joke, you know, I got to invade Iraq twice.
Yep.
You know, so, but even again, I got my bachelor's degree, and this is shy of my master's, but now the whole focus is on Project Die Hard. Everybody goes, well, you can make, you know, I got my whole day is nothing but trying to help my brothers and sisters.
yeah. Well, yeah, you know,
You talk about brain injuries. My son is a wounded warrior, traumatic brain injury, and that unnamed organization that we called, and we were talking about them earlier. When my wife told them, the first question out of their mouth was, "Do we have all this lens?" And I was like, "For what?" It was a photo op.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. And I've been up through that a little bit too. I mean, I admit, I won't deny that you see me in the street, you see me at 10 in the morning when I'm bright eyed, and after that cup of coffee, I'm all fine. And I understand things enough, probably prior deployment stuff. But find me at 10 o'clock at night when I'm exhausted, I start dropping things at the break because you don't see it. It's a hidden injury.
Yeah.
I've been asked by people, you don't look disabled. Okay, well, what's this? You know, it's don't judge the book by its cover. Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
So true.
I mean, well, just like I was talking about memory care just a few minutes, which is a signature issue for the next 20 years. My parents' generation. Brain injury is a signature injury of post 9/11. You know, it is. I mean, which is the good part is they actually take it seriously. You know, like I'm, you know, not trying to go on tangents. I'm so glad that they take concussions and stuff seriously in sports now versus when I'm, oh, you hit your head.
Oh yeah, walk it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, walk it off. Yeah, that just. Yeah, well, hindsight's 20/20.
No, I know, but
You're right.
there's the good and the bad, you know.
Yes.
At least what you're doing, Operation Die Hard, you know, somebody that's taking this head on. And it goes back to the VA does what they can do, but they're obviously, I think the post 9/11, they just got overwhelmed but I think they were more prepared than maybe they were, you know, the system there was just overloaded. So.
Well, and again, I have nothing against the VA. Well, let me take that back. I have nothing against the people that worked in the VA.
Same.
They do their best with what they have. It's the bureaucracy within the VA that I hate.
Yeah.
Okay, that bureaucracy is why when you call and say, hey, I need to talk to somebody, oh, it'll be 8 months. Everybody goes, well, what does that do to bureaucracy? They can't keep good people.
Mm.
Yeah.
With all the rules and regulations they slap on top of them, they can't keep good people.
Yep. Yeah. I've heard that too. I mean, I'm blessed by my polytrauma doctors here in Minneapolis, and I love my primary care physician because he loves to work with soldiers and sailors and, folk veterans and so forth. But yeah, there's lacking, but
Hold on a second, guys. Jeremy. So the VA is not recognizing your TBI? You got a comment in here, so I want to make, part of this is helping veterans. I don't know if he's still listening or not. But well, yes, Jeremy, we understand that. That's why we're here to fight for you, brother. Hit us up after the show and, let's figure this out. If the VA isn't recognizing your TBA, I got people in my network that they specialize in the VA, or having the VA recognize things. The system is all the way to the DoD. Yeah, brother. Look, we got 2 victims right here. I get it. Michael, you agree with them?
absolutely.
Yeah, okay. But now, as I had in a meeting this weekend, I want to help you. Okay, Jeremy, we want to help you, man. I was in meetings all this last week up in Chicago, and I got to stress this to my brothers and sisters. We can't just sit here and gripe. We have to do.
Teamwork brings the
Mhm.
Teamwork
Absolutely.
makes the dream work.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
We have to work together. I'll put it out there. Thursday night, I was to attend a meeting with the Cook County Commission. We all know Chicago and Cook County, right? The good old Chicago political machine. This organization arranged all this. This was a time for veterans to come and ask their question. DOT instructions 649003 dated August 11th, revised to omit medical records. I don't believe that I was a medic. Your medical records are your responsibility when you leave. I made copies for all my jobs. But I was saying, oh yeah, so here we are, we're all sitting in this nice Legion Hall, right? Now I'm just sitting there, I went up because I had to be there the next night to speak, but every time there's a thing going, I want to hear politicians talk about veterans issues. Because when I knew that was going on, Illinois is number 7 on the top 10 list of veteran suicides, and 43% of that number comes from Cook County, Illinois. Now, I understand it is because they have the highest populace in Illinois of veterans. But still, what are we doing to stop it? You know, that's my question for a politician. So, I mean, yeah, get out there, brothers and sisters. When you see a call to action to go and sit in your county commissioners meetings, your city hall meetings, you gotta gripe. That's the place to go gripe. Put those politicians, put their toes to the fire. Demand they answer the question. I will say this, none of the Cook County commissioners even showed up for the event. They sent their poor assistants. You know?
Yeah, I feel bad for the assistants, but they're just doing their job.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I felt miserable for their assistant. Because we had some Vietnam vets in there ready to tear up some politicians. Yeah, I learned a lot that night.
I have my Congress, you know, they redrew my district. I have him practically on speed dial and email, which is fairly responsive. And so.
Yeah, I got those two. I got a few right here. You must be really nice because they don't like to talk with me.
No, it's mine. I've met them once live, but they generally respond. But yeah, there's a few that probably, if they know it's me, they're not going to want to talk to me. So.
Well, I know they don't want to talk to me because I only talk about one thing.
Yeah.
What are we doing to end veteran suicide? Because what you're doing now isn't working.
No.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. I'm a little pushy on the matter. Well, hi.
And I was, sometimes you really wonder. Some of these politicians, I really respect them for what they do and their responsibilities they carry. But my question is, sometimes, and it happens in healthcare and other sectors as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thing is, why don't you bring people that have experience, to be on the table when all these deliberations are going on? It will save a lot, instead of tackling something you have no clue about.
I have offered more than once to go to these committees. And I guess I'm not a good old boy and I don't nod the head the way the other people do in the room of, but look, you're right. You want to know how to help veterans? You better get in a room of veterans and ask. We'll tell you how to help them.
Right.
Don't. Oh, this person paid $1,000 a plate. They can sit at the table.
No.
No.
No. But no, I like it. Veterans. Some of us, Brian, I can tell just by being here an hour, but that you're pretty straightforward and you don't beat around the bush, which I like dealing with folks. I'd rather deal with somebody that's abrasive, not in somebody, even if they're abrasive, straight.
I am abrasive.
No, I mean, I like to deal with that versus somebody said, that. Well, our officials, sometimes they'll dance around the problem. And so, no, I want to be told, maybe it's just me. Okay, what's the military? What's the problem?
Right.
what's the alternatives here? Let's make a plan and, organize and then execute it. That's the way.
And that's why you have leadership, in my own, understanding. That's why we have leadership.
Yeah.
It's for them to take, control of the situation, find solutions, and be done with it.
And
So,
execute the plan, and if you have to make changes, because sometimes.
right,
Again, I'm the leader of Project Diehard. Like it, hate it. The plan is the plan. We will adjust the plan as needed.
Mhm.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
Jeremy said it, money, money, money. You're right. I don't care how much money you give Die Hard. In order for you to have a vote on how this mission is steered, we ask for participation. Right? Come. Here's the shovel. Here's the paintbrush. Here's I have a working board of directors. I've had a few people come, what do you mean working board? It's a working board. I put out, this is what we need. You're the board member. What's your answer?
Mhm.
This is a working board. This isn't, come by every quarter and smile and eat crumpet. No, not here. Not here.
This is a photo op hour, yeah.
Yeah. But this is why Project Diehard needs people to become that monthly patron. So we can do bigger and better things. All right, we can sit here, but we have Kurt. Kurt, are you ready to come on? I don't see your picture.
Is Scott here?
Boom, there he is.
Hi, Cat.
Hello, Mr. Kirk.
Great conversation. Yeah, it was kind of given the news about you guys all live streaming as we had our HMP co-host posting party. So I let the 25 people know, like, hey, while we're talking here, we got some celebrities talking over on a live stream. So it's a great work. Boy, I'm hearing political acumen and putting the screws to them a little bit, let's end veteran suicide. So I'm coming into a strong conversation. I like it.
Kurt, you know me long enough.
Yeah.
That's the only conversations I know how to have.
Let's light the load. I heard, YouTube West Concerts. I heard Aaron Rodgers is gone officially, finally.
Yeah, well, that's the football business.
That's something lighter. So
that's right.
The People's Picture Project, except where you guys are all at. And Andrea, nice, sweet sister lady, a great patriot. She's never not a veteran. But I don't know how many times I gotta say, I'm not coming ice fishing. It's just no.
Well, I'm not gonna take you ice fishing because I don't like ice fishing. So it doesn't mean.
Well, look, before I made it to Kentucky, I was stationed at Fort Drum, New York.
Okay.
Okay. When my detailer called and said it's time to move, you can go to Wisconsin, North Dakota, or Kentucky. She didn't even get Kentucky out of her mouth. She goes, that looks quick. There is 12 feet of snow outside my door. That's not fun to me. Is that your service, Gooch?
Yep, it's Dory.
Hi, Dory.
It's cute. Mhm.
She's a lot of times where I go, she goes where I go unless I'm, if I'm getting the pool for, my like training or, if I have, in the fall and winter, I officiate high school swimming, she can't be there, but I take her as much as I possibly can. Even if my mother doesn't like it, too bad, like that.
So what is she trained to alert on?
She can tell when I get stressed, the PTSD, and kind of to calm me down. And I mean, I have a risk of seizures, and it's like dogs can feel when my blood pressure's rising. I don't even.
Oh, I know they can.
Yeah.
I know they can. I'm trying to get Tony from Down the Leash Service Dogs onto this podcast to explain his programs. I've learned a lot from him in service dogs. Right? That's why I asked the pointy question. What is she trained to alert on?
Yeah. Well, she can tell that maybe they just know dogs are much smarter than people will ever give them credit for.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
But
Mhm.
yeah, the emotionally supportive guinea pig on the airplane is no.
Yep. My wife and I are going on that retreat this week, and she's coming with us.
Mhm.
That's
And,
great. Where are you going for that?
it's in Orlando. My mother-in-law goes, "Oh, take sunscreen." I said, "No, it's going to be a retreat type thing. We won't be sitting by the pool, going shopping, and having pina coladas. It's a marriage retreat, which is fine by me." So,
Mhm.
Mhm.
Good.
I mean,
Enjoy it.
yeah.
All right, so we
Okay.
are over our hour. Let's go around the room. Any words of encouragement to my brothers and sisters, the veterans of America? We will go with our guest. Michael, you're first.
Did you say 8 words?
A word of encouragement.
Kids do not give up.
Okay. Solid point. Say it all the time.
Mhm.
Okay, Zeta, what do you got?
Yeah, I want to tell our brothers and sisters, veterans, we love you.
There we go. Kurt, what do you got?
Well, I'm gonna say one way to get it done, to get it won, is to have fun. So I encourage everybody to have fun out there. And to that note, I'm having fun sharing with the Disability Channel. Jay Stoyan is telling us that he's committing to be able to cover the 2025 Invictus Games. So all of a sudden, I'm an Invictus Games fan. So here we go. Let's do
There
it.
you go. All right, Emily, what do you got?
Just to be yourself.
Okay, so
Mhm.
and to end this out, I will give my little words. Remember, brothers and sisters, there's always hope. You got to make it through today. And then tomorrow when the sun comes up, right, you know you did it. Then it's a simple rinse and repeat. With all that, I thank everybody here on the screen for their time, their attentiveness. And we will see you next week on Mission Monday.
Thank you. Have a good one, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are clear. Very good show, very good show.
Yeah.